Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of lesson 10-4. Identifying extraneous solutions is problem number 4. That's what we're going to look at first off. And what is an extraneous solution? It is an apparent solution that does not satisfy the original equation. So the reason these come up is we are going to be squaring both sides of the equation. So we are adding in an element that wasn't there before. So we are creating an extra solution in order to solve it. So we square both sides, so we're going to have y squared is equal to y plus 6. All right, the square root and the squared are opposite operations, so they just cancel out. So now how do we solve something that has a squared term? I feel like we did an entire chapter on this. So we need to get it equal to 0. So we're going to subtract y and 6 from both sides of the equation. And we get y squared minus y minus 6 equals 0. So now that looks like one of those easy factoring problems that we did way back in the day. We're looking for numbers that are going to multiply to -6 and add to -1. So we need y minus 3 and y plus 2. So let's identify our two solutions. Our two solutions are 3 and -2. But remember, I said that by squaring it, we created an extra solution that is not going to work with our original problem. So we need to plug both 3 and -2 in for y in our original equation. So let's start with 3. The opposite of 3 is equal to the square root of 3 plus 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. Is -3 equal to 3? No, it is not. So let's try -2. Let's plug that in for y. The opposite of -2 is +2. And we plug in -2 plus 6. -2 plus 6 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 2 equals 2.
Can we show that again? Because
sure.
I didn't write it down correctly. Okay. So if I plug in
we don't need the squared part because we're plugging into the original.
So this is square root of 9, which is 3.
And our y was -3.
That does not work.
Okay.
So if I plug in square root
of y, -2 plus 6.
square root of 4, which is 2, and the opposite of 2 is 2. That's why that one works.
Remember, when we're substituting in, we are taking that letter y out and we are replacing -2 in its place. So that is why you have the opposite of -2. That negative sign stays out in front when we take that y away. All right, letter B, we are going to start by squaring both sides of the equation. And we're going to get x squared is equal to -x plus 6. Remember, the square root and the squared cancel each other out. Now we add x and subtract 6 from both sides. And we can factor that fairly easily. We're going to get x plus 3 and x minus 2. So our two solutions are -3 and 2. And now we need to plug them into our original equation and see which one is our actual solution. So plug in -3 for x, and that's equal to the square root of -3, so the opposite of -3, plus 6. 3 plus 6 is 9, and again we've got the square root of 9 is 3. Is 3 equal to -3? No. So -3 is the extraneous solution, and x equals 2 is the solution for this equation. All right, let's take a look at letter C. we've got the square root of 2 minus y is equal to y. We start off by squaring both sides of our equation. 2 minus y is equal to y squared. And we need to get everything to one side of our equation, so we're going to subtract 2 and add y to both sides. So we've got y squared plus y minus 2 equals 0. And Ms. Zirzo just flipped which side of the equal sign everything's on. It's still equal. So we can factor this. We're looking for a factor of a positive 2 and a negative 1. So our two solutions are y equals negative 2 and y equals 1. Now let's plug those in. So we've got the square root of 2 minus negative 2 is equal to negative 2. So the square root of 4 is equal to 2. Is 2 equal to negative 2? It is not. So y equals negative 2 is the extraneous solution. Y equals 1 is the solution to the equation. Letter D, start off. We're going to square both sides of this one. So we're going to get x plus 2 is equal to, don't forget, we need to FOIL this. X plus 2 is equal to x squared minus 8x plus 16. Subtract x and 2 from both sides. We've got 0 is equal to x squared minus 9x plus 14. So we're looking for two numbers that are going to give us multiples of 14 and add up to negative 9. We're going to subtract both 7 and 2. So our two solutions are x equals 7 and x equals 2. So let's plug 7 in. Square root of 7 plus 2 is equal to 7 minus 4. 7 plus 2 is 9. The square root of that is 3. And 7 minus 4 is 3. Does 3 equal 3? Yes, it does. And that is our solution. All right, problem number 5, we are going to identify equations that have no solutions to them. So let's start off. We need to get the radical all by itself, so we're going to subtract 6 from both sides of the equation. We've got the opposite of the square root of 2x is equal to 4. Is that radical all by itself yet? It is not, so we need to divide by negative 1. So the square root of 2x is equal to negative 4. We're dividing.
I knew that. That's what this is.
All right. So we can square both sides of this equation. And we'll get that 2x is equal to 16. Divide both sides by 2. And x is equal to 8. Now let's plug that in, double check to make sure our answer does work. So we've got 6 minus the square root of 2 times 8 is equal to 10. So 6 minus 2 times 8 is 16. The square root of 16 we know is 4. So 6 minus 4 equals 10. So 2 equals 10, right?
Wrong.
Well then, there is no solution to this problem. And at what point could we have stopped doing our work to realize that there was no solution? We could have stopped it right here, when we see that the square root of 2x is equal to negative 4. Can we have the square root of anything equal a negative number? The answer is no. So we could have stopped right there. As soon as we see that our radical is by itself and there is a negative number on the other side of the equal sign, we're done. All right, so next up, we've got the square root of 4x plus 7 is equal to 3. Square root of 4x equals negative 4. So right there, we can see no solution. All right, And that is the end of our lesson for today. We will see you in class. Have a great night.